Well, hello there, my little Halloweenies. You might not have seen me since Halloween. I am the Randymole, and I am on the Jambo Shango Randymole movie show channel. If you don't know me, that's because I've not been here for a while. You see, Jambo keeps me in the dungeon, but he's finally got himself a little bit chafed, so he thought he'd let me out and tell you about the top 10 horror movies of last year. 2020 was a crazy year. Lots of bad things happened across the world, but there were some good things, and the good things about 2020 were the horror movies, because they were bloody brilliant. So here's my top 10. At number 10 for me is Jim Cummings' The Wolf of Snow Hollow. 10 minutes in, I actually restarted the film. I went back and restarted it because I couldn't get the tone. I couldn't quite work it out. What Jim Cummings has done here is he's the writer, director and star. He's got a very atmospheric procedural movie that is about a small town cop with the weight of the world on his shoulders. Well, at the same time, he's got to investigate some gruesome killings that appear to have been caused by a werewolf. He's a troubled alcoholic. He knows that there's no such things as werewolves, yet all the evidence points to it. And we as a viewer are seeing a werewolf, like destroying people, like literally eating their private parts, which is really interesting. While the whole film is this kind of like whodunit mystery procedural that really reminiscent in visuals of Christopher Nolan's Insomnia, it always keeps one foot firmly in comedy, and it feels like it feels like this film wants to be bloody Police Squad. It makes the mundane silly and funny and bizarre, and this vibe of mashing these two completely separate ideas of horrific werewolf attack, police whodunit, and comedy is quite jolting in places. But weirdly, I found it, having restarted it and got my head around that, to be very, almost like a comfort food movie for me. I mean, werewolf movies, it's got to be on the list. It's got to be on the list. At number 9 is a vampire movie that I don't think anyone's seen. No one seems to have seen this movie, and it's on Amazon Prime, and it's called Bit. I mean, we've all got Amazon Prime. You know, we paid for Prime because we got forced into paying for it so we could get our socks delivered next day or whatever it was. Bit is a teenage vampire romp. It's the Lost Boys sequel that we wanted and never got. This is Lost Girls. It's about a teenage girl that moves to LA and falls in with a group of vampire girls that refer to themselves as the Bite Club. Well, they did that at one point, which is brilliant. But this is the bit you might not have heard before. It's a transgender teenage girl that moves to LA, like 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and joins this group of vampires. Slightly parking the fact that the lead actress is transgender, and her character is transgender, and that's obviously part of the story. So before anyone gets all Trump on me and starts going, oh no, they're going to hit me over the head with transgender and acceptance, parking that to the side for a second, what we have here is a fun, modern vampire film. It has great music, great soundtrack, great visuals. It is just like those fun 80s vampire movies like Lost Boys, a bit like Vamp, a bit like Fright Night. It is that vibe, but made today. It is not cheesy and it is not tacky, it is modern. It's actually littered with pop culture references. Throwaway comments relating to everything from The Matrix to Lost Boys sequels, actually. There's a brilliant line there. And it's really, really funny in places. There's a flashback scene where one of the vampires talks about how she became a vampire, and it has the master vampire, this male vampire that had too much power and used it too widely, and it's hilarious. It's set to the vampires dancing to Boney M's Rah Rah Rasputin. There's some great kills in it, there's some gore in it, there's a lot of vampire politics going on in this, and there's a smattering of a vampire hunters just to keep you on your toes. So all of that makes this a fun vampire film. Now, if you want a little bit more as well, if you want to scratch below the surface of this, the fact that the lead actress is transgender and she plays a transgender character, and the film never hits you over the head with this in any way. It's not going out there to be like a preachy film about this. It just lets that be part of the film, that you don't have to even consider it as a plot point. But if you want to scratch the surface, it is the plot of probably every vampire movie, isn't it? Because actually what it's about is what does it mean to be you? Are you comfortable in your own skin? What does it mean to be a boy or a girl or a human or a vampire? What does it mean to have society put rules on you, whether that society is the wider society in which you live or the little coven of vampires you have to live in, which seem to give you their own rules as well. So I was really impressed with this. And I don't want anyone to think, oh, I don't want to watch it because of that little line that you said about transgender or anything like that. That only makes this film better when you think about it more. The surface level of this film is just a great vampire horror flick that you should all enjoy. And it's on Amazon Prime and no one's watched it. Please go and watch it. As we head into number 8, there's been loads of themes this year that are running across many of the really, really good horror movies. And another film which I think discusses what does it mean to be who you are and how do the places that you live in society shape you is a film that's very horror adjacent, but I thought I'd put it in my list because it has some of the most unsettling and horrific scenes of the year. So at number 8, I've got Swallow. Carlo Mibrello Davis, I think is the name of the guy that wrote and directed this, and he's made a movie about a lady that has pica, and that's a condition that pregnant women sometimes get where they feel that they need to eat things that you really shouldn't be eating. And what we have here is we have a movie that is unsettling from start to finish. It's a film where you don't want to watch what's going to happen, but you can't help but watch because it's so unusual and unexpected, and it goes to places that you're not used to seeing on film. The lead actress in this is Hayley Bennett. Now, I love Hayley Bennett. I did a review for the 30 Days of Fright this year about Joe Dante's The Hole, which is one of my favourite films of all time, which she was the teenage girl and stole the show in this. And now she's matured to being an absolutely amazing actress. In this film, she really downplays the role of Hunter that is trapped in a relationship with a rich person, and she's pregnant, and she has no control. She has no self. She has nothing going on in her life that she feels that she has to take control of something. So what she takes control of is what she can put in her body. And although we're watching it as a viewer and it's a bit like we're seeing someone lose control, that's not what's going on here. Although she's making so many choices that are endangering her, what she's doing is actually taking control of what she can. She's taking control of her own body. A bit like people that self-harm do. It gives her some sort of control over her life. And watching that is really powerful. So this film, it's about abuse, and it's about the different forms of abuse, but it's also about taking control. And ultimately, in the end, it's also about forgiveness as well, in some of the most horrific circumstances. This is a highbrow movie in many ways, and it's probably worth noting there's a couple of other highbrow horror movies that I haven't seen this year that have got really good reviews, His House and Relic, so they won't be appearing on my list. But if you like well acted, well directed, developed stories that are character driven with a real unnerving feel and some absolutely horrendous moments, then please go watch the Swallow. If you like your horror movies more straight bonkers balls out horror, then you need to watch my number 7. And number 7, I have Damien Levesque's movie The Cleansing Hour. This is just a straight out batshit crazy horror movie. So basically, there's this guy. He's effectively a fake priest, and he has a YouTube channel in which he conducts exorcisms within a show called The Cleansing Hour. So each week, people tune in all around the world to watch him doing a live stream of an exorcism, and it's all bullshit. It's all fake. But as it happens, he then has to end up performing a real exorcism live, which is being live streamed. You know, bit convoluted. But what a great setup. What it does really clever is 1 second it's funny and it's exciting and you're like, yeah! And then it will, in a blink of an eye, change to something really horrific and really nasty and grisly and gruesome. And then it flicks back. But the acting and the direction is so well done that you stick with it. And you just have fun with it. I'm probably not giving it enough credit when I say it's a straight out horror film, because it actually has an awful lot to say about today's society, in the way that, you know, what's real, what's not, how much do we invest in YouTube, and watch, you know, how much does that control what we think and what we do. If you like horror movies based on modern day technology, also go and watch Death of a Vlogger, which is a film about someone that wants to become famous or infamous on YouTube. That just missed my top 10. I actually think that The Cleansing Hour is the best exorcism movie since The Exorcist. This thing caught me really off guard with how much fun it was. So going from a balls out fun horror movie, let's move to a much more cerebral affair. At number 6, we have Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor, or Possessor Uncut, as it seems to be referred to over here. And I should point out, because I did try and do a bit of digging, the version that is streaming on most sites is Possessor Uncut. They have not actually released Possessor Cut in the UK. This is a sci-fi horror. And literally linking the themes of the movies I've been talking about here so far, both different sides of the themes. This is about the future where an assassin can take over someone's body. So they like take over somebody else's body, and then they go and kill someone before committing suicide and going back to their own body. But what it does is the person that's been doing it, who's the top of their game, is finding it very difficult to latch on to the person and work out who's actually always in control of the body. So it takes the theme of what does it mean to be you, and it also takes the theme of technology and how we use it. This film starts quite cold, and I found it cold for the first sort of 5, 6, 7 minutes, but the story is so intriguing, and it's directed so well, and the acting is so good that it started to sweep me up in it. Now, much like his father's, David Cronenberg's films, you could look at all the subtext that's going on here, and like a lot of his work, you don't have to look at it at these deep levels. You could just take it as a cold thriller sci-fi body horror film, and my god, is it horrific. Wow, it's extreme. The brutality in certain scenes of this film are like nothing else. You know, there is no levity in this film. It wants to sucker punch you, and it does. Jeez. And most of the effects in here, practical effects. Practical effects made a really good comeback this year. Really good comeback. And the practical effects here are horrible and disgusting. If you like it hard and brutal, and don't mind seeing some disturbing images, but also want to think a little bit, you'll get a lot out of it. So we're at number 5, and it's my list, so I'm going to cheat.